Hey, good morning, Fairview family. It's good to see you today. I am so excited to be able to come to you this morning and talk just for these next few minutes about a plan to regather ourselves as a church family for worship. I know some of you are probably really glad that we're getting now the opportunity to begin to worship together again in our facilities. And we're really excited. It's our prayer that as you come onto the campus in the coming days, that you'll enjoy a time of worship, of praise and prayer, fellowship with your friends. We're looking forward to that. But let me share a few things that are important for you to know, for each of us to know, as we prepare to regather together, to transition and begin to phase back in to worship together. Now, first, let me start with a few words of caution. If you are over 65 years old, or if you know you have a compromised immune system, it's probably best for you at this point to really take some serious time to pray about and think about whether you should return in this first phase. Now, we're not telling you can't come, but what we are saying is be prayerful about this and really consider carefully whether it's the right thing for you to do for your health at this point. Now, if you feel like you're comfortable with that and you can do it, again, we want to help you. So, in order to help each of us stay healthy as we come back to worship, let's begin to think about some other things that we know are important for us to observe. For instance, this first phase of the regathering, as we're calling it, involves some guidelines about who meets in which building and how many people can meet in each building and kind of even how we sit in the buildings and how we interact. So, for instance, there are some changes that are coming already with the way we do worship. Just know that. We're going to change some things, like, for instance, with the way we pick up the offering. Don't be surprised when you don't see the plates go by. We're not going to do that right now. We'll give you further instruction on how that's going to happen when you come for service. There's also some things that'll change in the way we fellowship. In other words, we won't have times where we're holding hands or where we're hugging necks. We're not going to do that right now because we know people just need to be more careful about that at this point. So instead, you'll see our service again. It's going to be a little different without some of those elements in them. Another thing to think about when we come for worship is that when you pull into the parking lot, we'll hopefully have some folks who are there helping to direct traffic and help get you parked in a parking spot. But another part of that will be this. We have to keep tabs kind of on how many people we put into our facility. So we're having to space ourselves into 3 different rooms. Now, our sanctuary, according to the current guidelines from the State Fire Marshal's office, will hold basically 63 persons. We can have 25% of our occupancy there. They've given us some measurements that we can use to help us figure that out. And so we can have about 63 persons. Now, that's including our accompanists and our staff in the sanctuary. Now, beyond the sanctuary, we can also use our youth building. And our youth building, the occupancy rate there is going to be 52 persons. I'll tell you a difference between these two meeting areas. The sanctuary has fixed seating. That means, stationary pews. You can't move, of course. And we can't all crowd into a pew. So you'll notice that when you come into the sanctuary, the pews will be marked out differently. They'll be laid out. We'll have some areas roped off and some things like that. So you'll want to pay close attention to how you sit when you come into the sanctuary if you choose to sit in there. Now, the youth building will be a lot easier because when you walk in there, we have movable chairs. And so the chairs will be arranged. We're asking you to please don't move the chairs around. Just find where chairs are and find a place to sit. They'll probably be in sections or groups of 4 and 2, 4 chairs and 2 chairs. Now, if you choose to sit in there and say there's 5 or 6 of you in your family, obviously we'll be able to take 2 more chairs and pull in with 4 and give you enough seating. So we can do that. But beyond that, let's be careful not to try to move things around too much. The reason for this is we're trying to be careful about observing what we've been asked to do by the CDC, and that is to maintain 6 feet, that social distancing I know you've become aware of, right? And we're trying to follow those guidelines the best we can. So that's the reason you'll see some seating is marked out and kind of marked off for you to sit in certain places. So we would love it if you just help us with that when you're coming into our sanctuary or into our youth building. Now, if we move beyond those 2 buildings, if we have more than 63 in the worship center and 52 for the youth building, and we need our gym, we can use the gym. The gym will hold up to 56 people in there. So we should be good on seating at this point. We should have plenty for everyone, so don't worry. There will be a spot for you. We just need to make sure where that's going to be. Now, you may say, well, how is this going to work with the service? I mean, Are we all going to get to be able to see everybody? Well, no, you won't see everybody. You'll see the people with you, but you'll get to experience the worship together just like we've been doing over these last weeks, because now we have this ability to live stream. So the live service will be in the sanctuary, and we'll be streaming to our youth building and to our gym. And so you'll be able to interact and see friends in one of those rooms. So we're grateful for that opportunity. Now the buildings will open at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you'll be able to come and begin to find a spot to sit. As I said, as you walk in, you'll notice how they're arranged differently, and you need to find a spot. Now, if you have trouble and you're not sure where to sit, we'll have some who can help you, some ushers that can maybe help direct you a little bit and help you find a spot to sit in those rooms, all right? So we're asking you just to make sure you kind of pay attention to those phase 1 guidelines of social distancing. All right, some of you are probably wondering already, what about Sunday school? What about our small groups? I mean, are we going to get to do those? Well, we can't do our Sunday schools the way we've always done them. It's going to, not right now anyway. We're going to have to do them a little differently. We can't meet in our smaller Sunday school rooms. They're just too confining at this point. So what we're going to have to do is find other methods of doing it. Now, if you're a Sunday school class that maybe hasn't even been meeting at all over these last weeks, it's been too hard for you to do, and you'd like to start doing that, we're going to give you an opportunity to work with Brother Jay to schedule a room and a time. We can use our sanctuary for a class. We could use our gym, maybe put you around some tables in there. We could use our youth building or even maybe Spears Hall. So there's some larger rooms we can use for Sunday school. We just need to kind of figure out who's going to be where and when. So that's something Brother Jay will coordinate with you if you're interested in getting started again as a Sunday school. There are already a few classes who've been doing some unique things. I know one class that's been meeting in the parking lot. They've been meeting at a different hour throughout the week, and they come and they pull their vehicles up and they sit in lawn chairs and visit that way. So you could do something like that, something creative in that way. There's different ways to do this. We just need to be creative in how we handle it. Now, some of you also may wonder, but what about children's groups? Will we have any activities for kids? Well, unfortunately, right now, in this first phase, we're in a place where it's almost impossible to do a lot with children. So right now, there won't be any children's activities, special children's activities yet. That's something we're hoping to see come in the future, the near future. So just be in prayer about that and be patient with us, and we're working toward that. That's something we hope to see before long. As far as youth activities go, our youth building is large enough for them to actually meet together in social distance. So Josh will have some things coming up for youth, either on a Wednesday night or a Sunday night. He'll have some activities, and he's going to be mindful, of course, of the social distancing guidelines with that as a part of that. But he's already thinking about activities and things they can do, as a Bible study or fun things they can do where they can still maintain these guidelines. All right, I know it's a lot to take in, and I know there's a lot going on, and some of you are thinking, man, this is too much. But we're going to put with this video then a document that has all this written down. So if you've already forgotten half of what I said, you can look at the document and you can see there what you need to know about this first phase of regathering. Now, as the days go on, our prayer will be that things will get easier and we'll be able to do more. But right now, this is kind of a starting point, okay? It's where we are. And no matter where we are, whether it's bad circumstances or good circumstances, our goal is always the same: to give praise to the Lord Jesus Christ, to lift him up, to share his name, to tell people about the salvation that he can give. That's our goal. So let's praise the Lord. Let's just praise and lift him up. Let's don't worry about the things that we can't change. Let's do our best with what we've been given, and let's honor the Lord through our life. I hope you have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you in worship.